Yo, what's happening, my friend? Welcome to today's video. We're going to be talking about the social tripod method to generating consistent minimum of 5 high quality leads a day for your service-based business, whether you have some type of coaching, consulting, maybe you even have an agency, you provide some type of valuable service to your clients. It's just a matter of getting more high quality leads so that they actually want to invest into your programs, your offerings, your services, as opposed to trying and just forcing people, which a lot of people do these days. And it can be kind of a struggle on social media, where people are just kind of like, it's kind of like a tug of war, right? Both sides are trying to sell each other. This is a system that will actually getting people chasing you down, meaning you have high quality leads that are coming after you and wanting to learn more about your offerings. Okay, it's a completely different ballgame, and I'll be sharing with you here on this video. Okay, so I wanna start out with a quote, or not necessarily a quote, kind of a stat that I learned recently. It said that for two people to become best friends, they must spend a minimum of 50 hours together. Okay, and what that is illustrating to us is trust. Okay, the more time that you spend with someone, the more time the trust goes up. Okay, so with a minimum of 50 hours, the trust is very high because in order for two people to become best friends, the trust has to be very high. So that's the same type of thing that we want to do with our leads so that we can build trust, because the key to having people actually interested in what we have to offer and eventually purchasing and investing into our offerings is there has to be a good level of trust. Okay, so how do we build up that trust? Well, that's exactly what we're showing you here on this video. So I have 4 steps on how we do that. Let's dive in. Number 1, multiple venues. So here's something to just kind of think on. I think this is kind of a good metaphor to draw out. But basically, this whole concept of multiple venues. Because, think about it from like a dating standpoint. Let's say you met up with someone for a first date, you go to a venue, you guys have a drink or maybe just coffee or whatever, and then that's it. Okay, that's it, and then the date ends, right? So that's great and all, but what could we have done on that date to give more of an experience to the couple to where they built more trust? Well, you could have gone to what we call multiple venues. So instead of just the coffee shop, we could have headed to the bookstore, and then we could have headed to a comedy show, something like that. Or it could be, drinks, it could be dinner, and then it could be a bar afterwards. It just kind of depends on, what the vibe is, right? But the whole idea behind it is that there is multiple venues, right? And so that's one of the biggest concepts. We leverage social media. That's why we call it the social tripod method. But we like to use the social tripod method to have the same effect on our leads, where we are just instantly building more trust because of the fact that it feels like you're spending more time together. Now, we're going to talk about actually spending more time, but when you give someone a feeling, it can be almost the same as the actual experience. So what I'm saying here is that we use 3 different platforms. We do Instagram, we do YouTube, and then we do email. Okay? Now, we first will attract people onto Instagram, then we will get them over to YouTube, and the way we do that is we collect their email address and then we'll point them over to YouTube. Now, why do we do this? Well, that comes into step number 2, which we call the 6-hour rule. So think about it like this. Just like what we talked about up here, is for 2 people to become best friends, they must spend a minimum of 50 hours together. Now, we kind of have a rule where it's like, if someone is going to spend 6 hours of us consuming our content, because essentially that is the exact same thing that is happening, right? You're building more trust, more time that person is actually consuming your content. And we want them to consume 6 hours of our content as much as possible. So we initiate the interaction on Instagram. Now, I'm going to show you something real quick. I'll show you some screenshots of what my Instagram routinely looks like when I wake up, okay? 44 new followers, 67 new followers, 41 new followers, 59 followers. So that's what we get every single day. And this actually has nothing to do with our content. We actually have a software. It's kind of like an AI software that'll go out and engage with your target market. Okay, it'll go out there and engage with your target market and bring them back to your profile, and they're choosing to follow you because they saw something within your content. And we show you exactly how to build all of this out. Okay, but it starts on Instagram. From there, you start conversations with all those new followers in a few different ways on how we like to do it. And then that right there is when we collect their email. From there, we send them over to YouTube to watch our content. And then it just continues to go back and forth. And so the reason that we do this, the reason that we do this is Instagram is a great place to initiate conversations, is to initiate touch points, is to initiate that connection. But then we want to elevate that 6 hours sooner. So obviously Instagram is much more of a short form content platform, right? In order to get someone to consume 6 hours of your content, you'd have to have a lot of content on there, like a lot of content. And especially since nowadays, most of the content on platforms like Instagram is short form, 15 seconds, sometimes less, sometimes just a little bit more. But you know how long that would take to get to the 6 hours if you were just consuming Reels. That's why we want to collect their email and we want to get them over to YouTube. Now, you're actually in this social tripod method right now for me. So we initiated very much likely on Instagram. I got your email in some capacity, and then I directed you over to YouTube, and now you're watching this video that's, let's say it's probably like 10, 15 minutes long. By the end of it, now you're closer to that 6 hours. You're more likely to trust me the closer you're getting to that 6 hours, and I'm able to do that on a quicker rate because of the fact that you're watching a 15-minute video, 10, 15-minute video, as opposed to just like a bunch of Reels, okay? Especially if you start binging my YouTube channel, which is really the ultimate goal that you want to do for these leads, is you want to have your content really good and compelling so that they actually go through all of your content so that they can get to that 6 hours as soon as possible, okay? So that's point number 2. Point number 3 is the power in follow-up. Okay, this is so big, and this is just a really great marketing principle, is that here's the thing, is like, let's just take it from your example here. Like we connect, like we said, we connect on Instagram. I probably got your email, and then I sent you over to YouTube. Now, you might be ready to learn from me and become a customer or a client in some capacity. Obviously, we have different ways on how we help people, but you might not, right? And very much likely, you're probably not, okay? Just because you watch one YouTube video, unless you go and watch like all my other YouTube videos and binge my content and get up to that 6 hour mark, you're probably just going to be at like, the 20-minute mark. Maybe you watch a couple of my Reels, maybe now you watch this whole YouTube video, maybe you watch one more, but you're probably sitting at about like 30 minutes, right? So in order for me to get you up to 6 hours, and the way that you're going to get your leads up to closer to the 6 hours is the follow-up. And that's why we collect their email address. That's why we connect with them on Instagram, because then they follow me. And again, like I showed you, all those people followed me. And now when I consistently create new content, that's the follow-up. The content is to follow up with people that are connecting with us through that software, rather than thinking that we're just going to get a bunch of leads from our content. Our content is actually just nurturing people. And the more that we post on Instagram, that's more nurturing people. The more that we send out emails to our content, that's nurturing people. And then also getting people over to YouTube, that's nurturing people. And when they subscribe, then they're going to be notified when new videos come out and they can watch those videos. So there's so much power in follow-up, and really the whole idea behind it is getting to the 6 hour mark. And the more that you can stay consistent, the more you're getting them to that 6 hour mark. Does that make sense? All right. Number 4. Okay. So this is a big one. These are all big ones, but this is definitely a big one. Jab, 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 right hook. What does this really mean? Now, there was actually a book titled this, and I thought it was a really great principle, and it's something I've definitely lived. I've lived in my marketing career. I mean, I've run millions and millions of dollars in paid advertising for some of the biggest companies out in the world, and this is a concept that is really, really powerful. But what you have to understand is that the amount of clients that you generate is directly proportionate to the amount of offers that you present to those leads. Now, there's going to be some leads that come through and they're somewhat interested in what you have to offer, but you haven't really given them an opportunity to actually say, yes, I'm interested in what you have to offer, and I'm interested in becoming a client or a customer or someone that invests into your programs, right? So you want to give essentially a jab, jab, jab is value, value, value. Right hook is an offer. Now, it doesn't need to be like, hey, you put out 3 pieces of valuable content and then you make an ask. But that's just kind of the general gist, is that you want to give a lot of value, and then you also want to make offers. Okay, you want to give more value than you're just asking, like, hey, we're asking for this, we're asking for this, we're asking for this. But the key is that you want to be making offers. So in your Instagram posts, on your stories, on your feed even, in your emails, on your YouTube channel. So you want to have that principle baked into everything that you're doing. On Instagram, you make a bunch of value posts. Every once in a while, you say, hey, we're looking for a few more clients to help them with generating leads. We're looking for a few more clients to help them with their yoga practice, or helping them with their fitness journey, or whatever it is, whatever the problem that you are actually solving. But you want to do that on all platforms. So, if you're sending out emails every week, back over to your content, that's great. But every so often, depending on what your cadence is, you want to give them an offer as well. Okay, and the same thing on YouTube. Now, this can be all in like one piece of content. So like if it's a YouTube video and it's 15 minutes long, you can give a lot of value, and at the end of the video, you can say, hey, if you're interested in learning more about XYZ, schedule a call or DM me back on Instagram. So it's really that principle, because I think a lot of people think that they just generate leads, they just give value, and they're just expecting their leads to say, hey, I'm interested and I want to buy your stuff. And in today's day and age especially, it's not necessarily the case. You have to give them an opportunity to say yes to you so that you can move forward in that relationship. Okay, so that is the 4 steps to the social tripod method. Utilizing multiple venues. We utilize Instagram, we utilize email, we utilize YouTube. We want to really abide by the 6-hour rule so that we can get them consuming as much as our content so they can really trust us. And we do that by the power of follow-up, because that is where really the power is. Most people are not going to see one piece of content and decide that they want to be a client. Follow up with them on multiple platforms. And then lastly is give a lot of value, but also make offers. Okay, so that's what I got. Hopefully that gave you a lot of value. If you would like some help actually implementing this and showing you how to set up your Instagram, how to set up your email, how to collect emails, how to get people over to YouTube, what to post, all those type of things, so that you can actually start getting at least 5 high quality leads. You can start generating those leads so that you can start converting them and start building value with them and start offering them things. If you would like help actually implementing this stuff and then utilizing our AI software to generate more high quality followers into your ecosystem and then take them through this whole social tripod method, then simply just DM me the word tripod, and then we can talk further about it. We have a few different ways on how we help people. So hopefully this gave you a lot of value and kind of help you understand the principles behind that. But go out there and implement this stuff. Utilize Instagram, utilize email, utilize YouTube. Get people swirling up in your world so that you can get them up to closer to 6 hours, so that they'll be more likely to trust you, and they'll be more likely to actually join your programs and your offerings. All right. So again, if you would like help actually implementing this stuff, simply just DM me the word tripod on Instagram, or there might be a link down below where you can schedule a call. All right. Thank you so much for watching this video. Appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon.